Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Weekend Winners in association with BetVictor as we look ahead to the best of the action from Sandown on Saturday featuring the Group 1 Coral Eclipse. Joining me in the studio, Declan Rix and Sam Boswell. Sam, back with us. Nice to have you.
Yeah, it feels like a long time since I've stood here next to Rixie, but it's good fun. Good to be back. Hopefully we can find a few winners this week.
Yeah, hopefully so, because Dec, our form has been there. The flat season has really kicked into top gear properly, as we know, even on the back of Royal Ascot. But the form is there for us.
Well, we're all not going for 5 naps in a row like Tracey.
No.
So
That was nicely teed up. You did bite. You did bite there. I threw it up and hit it out of the park.
Yeah, let's get there.
Yeah, no, you're going well. The last couple of weeks haven't been great, but swings and roundabouts.
Exactly.
This is a new week, and my excuses for last week were I was feeling ill after Royal Ascot, so that's why the tips performed badly this week. I've no excuses this week. I'm thriving. The sun is out. I'm bouncing. So here we go.
You are, aren't you? Even with near train cancellations and everything, you're still here and thriving.
There was a train cancellation.
Oh, there was.
Yeah.
There you go then. Right, sympathy to one side, though, I'm sure, for 1 week then for Rixie. But before we get stuck into the action, a reminder, as ever, to please do gamble responsibly. Our tips are not guaranteed to win, but we will still do our best to point you in the right direction. Right, on with the 150. This is the Group 3 Coral Charge for the 3-year-olds and over 5 furlongs. She's quality, heading the betting here at 7-2, Rixie. So 5 furlongs at Sandown.
Yeah, competitive little race. In terms of pace, I think She's Quality will go forward, probably with Rumstar and maybe the Eve Johnson Houghton horse at the bottom will go forward as well. But I think She's Quality will lead this field. I do like her. She's the horse to beat. She's progressed this season, but this is a stiff 5 into a little bit of a forecast headwind, and I wonder, could she just be gasping for air a little bit late? I'm hoping that will be the case with an improving 3-year-old in a Dresty. Now, look, we know this isn't the strongest division, and I'm just hoping a 3-year-old can step forward. 3-year-olds have a good record in this race, and fillies, I think, have won a couple of the recent renewals as well, and I just think the race will set up nicely for her. She's drawn drawn quite low, so Oisin will need to pick out a good route for her. But she was so good at Royal Ascot. She absolutely bolted up there, and I think she can progress again. And I think she's only one of two horses in this race that's a course and distance winner at Sandown. So yeah, I do like her. And like I said, 3-year-olds have a good record. They've won 4 of the last 10, and there's been plenty 3-year-olds placed recently, like Pure Sangue, even Kate's old favourite horse, Mythbathy, and Happy Romance as well. So need a little bit of luck from stall too, but I'll leave that up to Oisin Murphy. But yeah, I just thought at the prices she was worth a go in a division crying out for an improver.
It is, isn't it? And it's interesting that we're seeing a whole load of horses this weekend for the first time since Royal Ascot as well, and getting to see her here. Can she take that step forwards as we're hoping and expecting as well? But I say the division is definitely there for something to come along and to take it. And she's a decent price as well at 7-1, and a decent time to really freshen up and to come back again, especially for a sprinter.
Yes, I hope you're right.
Oh, here we go then. Yeah, we shall see. So 7-1 at shot to kick us off for Dec, Sam.
Yeah, I can almost copy and paste Declan's argument and just attach it to Queen All-Star, who's going to be my selection here at a big price. And she does need to take a significant step forward if you kind of look at what she's achieved to date. But she's definitely got the potential to do that. Course and distance winner at Sandown. We'll see her in action here at Wolverhampton. I think this is definitely more her trip, looking at what she's achieved so far this season. And the trainer arrives here in absolutely brilliant form. He's hitting around a 40% strike rate at the moment, which I really like. And I thought he was quite bullish about his comments in the week about the fact that, they've come here because I think felt like there wasn't too many options for her, which is really intriguing because I think this is going to be tough. Let's not underestimate it. I don't want to get too carried away about the draw bias either, because the data initially, if you go back historically, suggests that a lower draw is better, but that has changed in recent years, I think. And I think don't be put off if you've got a high number that you fancy here. I think it's not quite like it used to be at Sandown.
Yeah, Sandown's definitely riding an awful lot fairer the last couple of seasons than it used to do.
I know, that's the thing. You used to look at the 5 furlong course at Sandown, you just think, right, low draws. Yeah, anything that just gets to the rail, gets in front, just wins. And it was just one of those massively biased tracks. But they've changed things, though. According to Andrew Mount, one of my colleagues, he said about them using some sort of special contraption. I'm paraphrasing here because he'd be far more technical about it, but something to kind of disturb the turf from where it was compacting against that inside rail, making it into that bias. They've done it at a few tracks. As soon as they did that, it levelled off the bias. So those wider drawn
learn
horses.
something new.
Professor Mount, as always, I'll have to credit then some there.
So yeah, I don't get the advantage of that draw then in that sense, but that doesn't put me off. And what are we, 11-1? I think she's a really fair each-way play. Again, younger horse here in a division that's crying out. I did quite like Westacre as well, but it needs to sort of get back onto the winning thread as such. And for me, I just felt Jack Shannon's horse was really interesting at a big price.
Interesting, we're all taking on the favourite. She's quality. I'm with Kurdos, so I'm not as original as the pair of you two here. Really like this horse, and the Clive Cox form is just really coming to the boil now. We saw that in the build-up to Ascot the week prior. At Ascot, so many horses that ran well.
So many placed horses.
So many placed horses. But then it's really continued post-Ascot as well. And this horse, he is a very smart type, and I found like this race was just really, really tricky, as we tend to expect with the 5 furlong contests nowadays. And as you say, we used to look at the low draw and just back that blindly. However, as I say, it has been levelled off somewhat anyway. And with this lad, he finished 5th last time out in the Group 1 King Charles III Stakes. Now, he's beaten 2 lengths. This was after he got rid of Christophe Soumillon on the way to the start as well.
I was down by the rail when that happened.
Was it you that why you whipped around?
Yeah, it was me. I spooked him, yeah. He was full of himself that day.
Yeah.
He was in great form. So even though he did get rid of Christophe, he still ran a screamer, didn't he?
It's so interesting with this horse because he's not actually as much of a lunatic as people think. He is just a really sharp sprinter. And like I say, just full of himself there. So I wouldn't be kind of thinking, oh, he's quirky, catch him on a good day. He's not like that at all. He's just really sharp. So hoping that Kurdos will be able to take the drop back down in grade in his stride. And
you want your sprinter to be a little bit...
Yeah.
If there's going to be
sharp,
any type of horse to have a little bit on edge going to post, I think you don't mind your sprinters doing it.
So you want him a bit edgy, like he's living in Shoreditch or somewhere like that.
Always be ready. Yeah. Always be ready. Yeah, Kurdos would be born there, wouldn't he? Yeah, he should just be living there. And at 4-1, hopefully, he will go on to win this. And if there is any kind of juice in the ground, a bit of softer conditions than at Royal Ascot, which, as we know, was rattling, that will only suit him as well. So do let us know who you fancy for that 5 furlong sprint. As we move on to the 225 now, the Coral Challenge handicap. 3-year odds and over 1 mile. Treasure Time is just shading favouritism now at 11-4. Greek Order next at 7-2, Sam.
Yeah, I got a lot of time for the front pair in the market, but the concern for me of Treasure Time would be this reappearance. I appreciate flat trainers especially can get them really sharp at home and they can win on reappearance. It's not the end of the world, but I just think for me at the prices, I thought Greek Order had a little bit of an edge there in terms of fitness. I thought the run at Ascot was fantastic, actually. You know, we'll take a look at it in a second, and we've got to remember that the winner is, you know, the perennial group horse in a handicap, I think it's fair to say, and Sylvester was delighted that the gap finally emerged, because he's got about £20 in hand, I think, the winner. But we'll go and focus, shall we, on my selection here, which I think he just runs a fantastic race. And for me, this is the kind of trip we want to see him. Obviously, he went stateside for a period of time, having left Harry and Roger Charlton at the time, and it just didn't work out for whatever reason in America. But Michael Bell now trains the horse. Ryan Moore booked to ride as well, which is never ever going to be a bad thing, is it? And I just kind of feel like 7-2 is probably as short as I'd want to take at the moment about this horse. But got to think he's been put up £2 for the Ascot run. Go back to the Cambridgeshire run over at Newmarket, which was a really strong race. That was off 95, going back a little bit in time, but he's lightly raced, and I just thought Greek Order for me just fitted the bill really, and at 7-2, I was willing to give him another chance.
Fitted the bill and fits the trends as well.
Interesting, Christophe Soumillon rode him at Royal Ascot, and he is riding at this meeting, but not even he could get on now. Ryan Moore gave him the heat. So
I know, that's it. The hierarchy merry-go-round that we have of who is the best round at the minute. I mean, to be honest, no one in the world, in my opinion, comes better than Ryan Moore, especially in the last 2 years.
He's head and shoulders above them.
Yeah, and I am Christophe Soumillon's biggest fan as well.
And he's ridden a couple of horses in here before, Moore, and quite recently, so that it is interesting he's on Greek Order.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he's chosen correctly.
Are you with Greek Order as well?
Yeah. And it's for the trends, but it was very, very remiss of me not to have sent over my stats for the lads here to be able to make up my usual Tracey's Trends graphic. But Greek Order was the one who ticked the most boxes. Now, the trend to really, really focus in on is the Royal Hunt Cup as a latest start coming into this. So not last year, but you look at Proto, who won this race in 2023. He was 10th in the Royal Hunt Cup. Sinjari 2022, 5th in the Royal Hunt Cup. Magical Morning 2021 was 8th in the Royal Hunt Cup, and Montatham in 2020, 2nd of 23 in the Royal Hunt Cup. So 4 of the past 5 winners of this race ran in the Royal Hunt Cup, finished mid-division or better. We've just looked at 3 horses who reoppose here, Galeron, High Royal and Greek Order, who now all come here on the back of the Royal Hunt Cup. The horse who did best of those, as we've just been seeing, Greek Order is the one. So that was the main trend I really, really wanted to focus in on here. Led me to those 3 horses, and for all of the reasons you've said as well, Sam, where Greek Order, last night, solid run, but he just looked as though he just needed to acclimatise, come back, probably needed the run as well. Cost $110,000 to bring back over. So clearly, Connections are hoping that there's going to be more from him.
That's what the cost of the trip was.
Oh, no, to buy him back over them.
To buy him back over, OK. That's
I think the American thing maybe just didn't work out for one reason or another, but there's definitely a horse still there. That's what the Ascot run shows.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just had this picture of Greek Order flying first class.
Bring it on.
Turning left or turning right.
Yeah, exactly.
Bit more of a Ryanair man yourself, Rixie?
Oh, absolutely. Value. Can't beat value.
Oh, no, who needs leg room anyway? Greek Order is 7-2 for the pair of us too, Rixie.
Yeah, kind of wishing my horse ran in the Hunt Cup now.
Thank you.
To your stats.
Thanks for listening.
But while we were talking about pace in the Coral Charge, I don't see an awful lot of pace here. Mursky might go forward with Too Tempting, but it could prove tactical enough. And I just wonder, the 3 horses at the top of the market, Treasure Time, Greek Order and Classic Encounter, I think the 3 of those are definitely better off a good gallop, especially Treasure Time, given how he won at York last season. And Classic Encounter can be quite keen and gassy early. So I just wondered, with kind of the pace dynamic, not maybe, hopefully not suiting the ones to the front of the market, looked like maybe a race to have a little bit of a swing in. And I'm going to go with the Charlie Johnson trained Ariseg. Now, it's going to be tough for her as a filly in against the boys and back in handicap company, but she's progressed lovely this season, and you know, I think she was well beaten a Royal Ascot, but I think she was drawn on the wrong side that day, and this is probably a better reflection of her true ability. Now, I thought Callum Shepherd gave her a good ride this day, a good Ascot ride, plenty of cover, but I just thought he was a little bit too confident as well. Now, whether or not she was good enough to beat the winner is probably debatable, but you know, I think the winner, Rainbow's Edge, I thought it was really interesting that the Gosdens left her in the Group 2 Duke of Cambridge at the 5-day stage. She ended up running in the Kensington Palace in the handicap, but and she ran all right, to be fair, off a massive weight. But it all suggests that they really like this filly. And look how far clear they're pulling, coming clear the 3rd horse there. She's hit the line well, excuse me. And you know, if you go back 3 starts ago at Goodwood in the listed Conqueror Stakes, Crimson Advocate won that race. Obviously, form boosted massively at Royal Ascot, and she was really unlucky. Didn't get a run up the rail that day, Ariseg. So I just think everything about her, she's overpriced here. She can be ridden at the back, and she can kind of track the pace a little bit. I'm hoping Callum Shepherd will just be a little bit more forward on her this day, like she was ridden in the Conqueror Stakes, a good one, just because I don't see an awful lot of pace. And so yeah, she'll do for me for a trainer who's going well at the moment.
Yeah, 12-1 as well. So we will allow you that, taking on our selection at Greek Order at 7-2. Again, do let us know in the comments section below who you fancy it for that mile handicap. And whilst you're there, we always say it every week, also make sure to hit subscribe and the bell notifications so you never miss an episode. On to the 3 o'clock now at Sandown. This is the listed Coral Distaff for the 3-year-olds over a mile. Competitive race. I don't know about you guys, but I was struggling big time with this. 15-8 the field, Blue Bolt heading the way. Dec, how did you assess it?
Yeah, I thought first things first, I thought there was a little bit of pace in here. I think Bermuda Longtail in 1 will go forward, Blue Bolt in 3, Serving Style in 4, and definitely Victory Queen out in 8 will go forward. I think it'll be an evenly run race where the best horse wins. But yeah, I'm just not sure about Blue Bolt being priced as short as she is. Yeah. I think this is a classic case of
Putty's trap.
Well, maybe, yeah.
We ain't falling for it.
Yeah, you know more about that now than we would. But yeah, I just thought this was a classic case of potential kind of going into overdrive. Now, look, she is a really nice horse, Blue Bolt, but I just wonder, could flat tracks really suit her? She's a really pacey filly, got an awful lot of natural pace, and I just kind of hope she'll see the hill and not fancy it or not quite get home. Now, Andrew Bowlings, I think, actually won 2 of the last 10 renewals of this race. He obviously trains Blue Bolt. He also trains Bermuda Longtail, and for me, I think she's probably a little bit underrated at the market, and on the day, it's going to be really interesting to see how they go in the market against each other, because obviously the Balding camp will know know exactly where they stand with the two fillies. But her form at York, when she was second in the Michael Seeley, for me, that's the standout piece of form in the race. It's the strongest piece of form. Maybe standout is a bit too much, but I think it's marginally the best form in the race. And she was really unlucky that day as well, because she was hampered at the gates and she got behind, having usually been ridden prominently, and there was a big drop in pace going to 3 furlongs out, and she wasn't in a good position, but she ran on strongly. Now, she does come here on the back of a disappointing run at Epsom, but I just thought she didn't fancy Tattenham Corner. She came down Tattenham Corner like a crab, didn't really fancy it, and then the camber wasn't to her liking either, and she was looked after. I think she'll really enjoy getting back onto a more conventional track, although all her form, like Blue Bolt, is on flatter tracks. I'm just hoping that the stiff finish won't find her out. But at the prices, I thought she was probably the bet in the race.
Yeah, that's the way I was looking at this race as well, was just every horse has its price, as we always say, and Blue Bolt for me, likewise, at 15-8. Just wasn't there. I know she's got the connection. She's running in those silks. She's got the pedigree. She's got the unexposed profile. But I am happy to let her go and win, considering what she's done in her career so far at 15-8, and to take her on. Cajole also needs to find more in terms of her official rating as well. I know she's at 6-1, but I just wasn't getting carried away with her. Victory Queen looks interesting again. But again, she also still has plenty to prove here. And then you've got two in here who you really need to forgive for their most recent run. Bermuda Longtail and Miss Tonnerre as well.
Oh my God, we had the exact same shortlist.
This literally was it, where I thought, well, these two have just got the proven form. The rest of them might be up to it, but they've not proven it anywhere near just yet. You just go on official ratings when you first look at this, and those two are standout. But you need to forgive the pair of them for their most recent start. We're forgiving on this show, though, aren't we? We try to forgive when it suits us, exactly. We can skew everything in our favour. But Bermuda Longtail, it was going to be the one for me as well, though, after that flop, as you say, at Epsom in the Princess Elizabeth Stakes. But she was the only 3-year-old in the race. And it was a strange race, wasn't it? Because the winner just went from the front and made all, as everything was doing that day at Epsom. She was ridden prominently, though, but as you say, I just don't think she handled the track. So on that basis, you'd have to give her another chance, and more so look back at her second at York. So again, agreement here. Bermuda Longtail for the pair of us.
I thought, given the dress she was wearing, Blue Bolt was a certain.
Very good, Rixie, yeah. Kate, you've got the right two horses, but the wrong way round. I'm hoping Miss Tonnerre is going to collar your other selection, because I was just looking at the list and I just thought, I want an each-way play in a race of this nature where I think the favourite's too short. I think if you like Blue Bolt, you'll get a bigger price morning of. I think there'll be a bit of a drift on her. But I felt like Ed Walker's horse has just been a bit forgotten about, because the Musadora run was, frankly, awful, if we're being honest. I went back and watched it again. She gets a little bit of a bump, I suppose, so there's probably an element of forgiveness there. And let's not forget, that was her first run of the season. You know, Whirl, the winner, has obviously gone on and achieved plenty, so I think it was obviously a decent enough renewal. But that run in isolation wouldn't make you want to back her, so you have to just completely put the line through it. But go back and look at her season at 2, and the debut run was very impressive when winning. And then we saw her go to Donny, and it's fair to say she bumps into a pretty good horse in the winner here, doesn't she? I feel
and Flight is in here as well.
Flight, and look how close she ends up to Flight. And I just thought to myself, that, you know, Desert Flower obviously wins it, but there's definitely a horse still there, and I think you've just got to forget last time out. This level of contest is obviously a bit easier, I think it's fair to say. And the run in France that came after this, again, it was respectable. She finished 4th, but that came on much softer ground than she's going to encounter on Saturday. She won't mind if it eases a tiny bit with a little bit of rain that's around, but good ground's going to be absolutely perfect for her.
I don't know about Kate, but that's what swung me into Bermuda Longtail's favour, was the ground.
Yeah.
I actually backed Miss Tonnerre in the York race that day. I backed her at 10s. I think she went off 7-2, so I was puking there as she started to tail off at the 3 furlong pole. But I think the ground was a bit too quick for her that day.
Yeah.
And she was also a bit gassy, wasn't she?
Yeah, look, I just don't think anything went that well for her in the run either. So I've had to forgive her, but I thought 10-1, that's an each way bet for me. And let's not forget Ed Walker. We've seen his horses. I can't remember the name of his Royal Ascot winner, but it appeared
Which one? He had 2, didn't he?
He had 2. The one, I try to remember.
It's all a blur.
It's all a blur. It was a good week, wasn't it? But my point stands that his horses will come back and improve again for the run, and I just feel like she's just the wrong price, really, in a competitive contest.
Never let go on the Sandringham for Ed Walker.
There we go.
I thought of that all myself.
Didn't come through your ear, I have to say.
Not at all.
Have I had an absolute nightmare? Did he have 1 or 2 winners?
Noble Champion of Jersey.
Oh,
I just had to have a second to think.
Kate's knowledge is so good at second to none.
It just Google computer in the background.
It just takes me half a second or a second to pluck that from the back of my brain there. But there you go. Anyway, Headwalkers 2 winners at Royal Ascot.
Great knowledge, Kate.
I know.
It's AI, really.
Never let myself down, do I? It feels a long time ago. It's just a blur of a week. Need to go back
given the way
it.
we've previewed this, it might sound like we might have to do a little reverse forecast.
I know. The forgiveness forecast. The FF, the forgiveness forecast here, Miss Tonnerre and Bermuda Longtail. Really, really looking forward to what is a very competitive contest, if not a tricky contest to solve. Hopefully, the Group 1 Coral Eclipse will not be as tricky a contest to solve. Comes up at 3:35, the feature race of the weekend. We get to see Ombudsman again here. He is now the even money favourite, Sam. So, are you fearing him?
He's going to be popular, isn't he? I was trying to sort of pick holes, and I think there are two fundamental reasons that I would be a layer at even money. One, the field. Yes, it's not as deep as perhaps it could have been on paper, but there's quality in here, if not quantity, and I think you've got plenty running for you. The bigger concern I'd have about Ombudsman is the yard form. Now, we're recording this Friday morning. It's been 2 weeks since the yard have had a win.
What? Have they just fallen off a cliff in 2 weeks after Royal Ascot?
Have a look at the form, Rixie.
We've all fallen off after Royal Ascot for 2 weeks.
Yeah, to be fair, we have actually. Maybe you're onto something there.
They've got plenty of chances on Friday afternoon, so I could potentially look really silly, couldn't I? But when you're trying to pick holes, do you want to steam into an even money shot when you've got quality up against it? The horse is an absolute brilliant horse, and I in some ways, if I wasn't having a bet in the race, I'd be really keen to see him sort of stamp his authority on this. But for me, I thought Ruling Court is just the wrong price to play each way here with the 2 places on offer. I think the Ascot run, we'll watch it back. Initially, I put into the group chat, I don't know if we should use the Ascot run. I was a bit disappointed. And then producer Ben's like, well, watch it back. And he didn't think so. And
producer Bren drunk on that Kool-Aid. This was really disappointing.
But if we learnt anything from this run, it was the fact that going further up in trip is going to be what the horse needs in time. I also think we forget about how difficult the horse's preparation probably was for this contest, given the original plan had been the Derby. A little bird told me that maybe the preparation for that wasn't ideal. Obviously, came out on account of the ground, but that's not going to be an issue for this day. And I almost feel like this run might have him spot on for the Eclipse, which Charlie Appleby, ironically in his quotes after this, suggested could come too soon.
I think on price, he is absolutely the most overpriced horse in the race, given what he did in the Guineas.
Yeah,
yes. And we haven't even really mentioned the fact that is it a bit disrespectful? And younger horses do really well in this contest in recent renewals. There's a lot to like, and I just thought 10's double-digit price. That's going to be a small play in what looks a brilliant race, and I'll leave you to talk about the rest because it's great, isn't it? Let's be honest.
It is.
Good
like for all that we don't have a lot of horses we were necessarily anticipating coming here at the declaration stage, it still is a fantastic race, and I am in total agreement, as you've both said there, in terms of Ruling Court being the horse that's overpriced at 10-1. So he is going to be the part of my forecast because Ombudsman just wins this for me.
Just wins.
Yeah, at even money there. Honestly, how smart did he look though at Ascot, where I know that, just look at the trouble he got into it. Now, I was with Anmar. I was all over Anmar. And even I'm not sour about this because he just should have won by further, Ombudsman, shouldn't he? Look at where Anmar is here. He's absolutely cruising.
Travelling like a travelling thing.
Oh, goodness me. And the trouble that Ombudsman managed to get himself into here. And he was weak enough in the betting, really, considering for this contest, the way that he's actually managed to get himself out. I know he's got that slightly ungainly head carriage, but that's just him. And that also, for me, is a reflective of the fact that he's got that turn of foot as well. So it was great to see him winning the Prince of Wales' stakes from a proper solid horse and very talented horse, and Martin second as well. And as I say, he just should have won by further. Great to see him bouncing back from that second in the Brigadier Gerard as well, where, of course, he had to concede £3 and race fitness to the winner in that race as well. So, faster ground he's proven himself on. Yes, he had a good pace to aim at. It teed itself up nicely, but you've just seen the trouble he managed to get into there. So Ombudsman is the horse to beat. Very smart contender from Ruling Court in second, who I thought was overpriced at 10.
Well, interesting you mentioned pace, and Sam's obviously highlighted the potential form with the Gosden's Yard. I don't see an awful lot of pace in here either. I think will Delacroix go forward maybe with Hot As Hell? Hot As Hell can be a little bit gassy, but unless he goes forward and really gets onto the girts of Delacroix, I can see this getting quite tactical and Ryan Moore probably having an easy enough lead. So, you know, Ombudsman clearly thrived off a really strong gallop in the Prince of Wales 6, so he's going to get a different race set up here. The other thing I'd mention as well, he's backing up within 17 days off a really tough run. Now, when you're running to figures in the mid-120s, you know, nearly pushing 130, you are going to the well. You're having tough races, and I just wonder now, you know, nobody could crib him if he was a little bit, if the sharpness had been knocked off him off the back of that run. Now, I was worried about him going into the Prince of Wales 6, about him handling the quick ground as well. Now, he was good on it on the day, and the only reason I say that is because he's a little bit scratchy in front, and John Gosling has reported previously that he had knee issues. Now, maybe that was just an immaturity thing, so I'm just wondering, I just think he'll probably get better even money shots. Now, at the same time, he is absolutely the horse to beat, because I think what he did in the Prince of Wales Stakes is probably good enough to win maybe 7 or 8 of the last 10 renewals of this race. And we've had some proper winners of this race. Enable, Gaiath, Roaring Lion, Ulysses, you know, Paddington, loads of proper horses. So, look, I'm willing to take him on. I'm going to take him on with the French horse, Saucy, even though I'm not completely convinced he's an out-and-out 10-furlong horse. But the reason I like him is just because he's coming here fresh. And it seems like it's been the plan from Andre Frab for quite a while. And, look, he had a good 3-year-old season last year. I think he was 4th in the French Derby. He was 3rd, I think, in the French Derby. Then won a Group 1 in France, was the Grand Prix de Saint-Cloud. Or the Grand Prix de Paris, so I'm all over the shop here. And then he ran a good race again in the Arc on ground that was too soft for him. Now, I thought Sardinian Warrior this day would give him a hell of a race, and he did. But, you know, I think for him to win over 9 furlongs this day was a good performance. And obviously, Sardinian Warrior's form at Royal Ascot was boosted, wasn't it? Because he beat Docklands really well in the Queen Anne trial, and then Docklands obviously won the Queen Anne. I think this guy is a typical French horse who should be trained in Britain, because I think the kind of general setup of a British race would suit him better, because I think he'd thrive off a good gallop. Now, whether or not he's going to get it on Saturday is debatable, but he's a fresher horse, like I said. He's got a top trainer. He's definitely progressed from 3 to 4. So the fresh angle for the French horse for me, and I'll be shouting LA, LA, LA as it comes to the 3 ball.
The fresh French angle then, 9 to 2 of Outsozy. Disappointed in the Pair of Beauty, taking on Ombudsman here. So I am definitely going to be with him, but do agree with Sam though that ruling court is overpriced. Do let us know in the comments section below your selection for the big races. We head over to the sofa to give you our best bets of the weekend. Time for our best bets of the weekend. Deck, you're up first.
Yes, hoping Sandown is going to be good to me this weekend, because all 3 of the best bets are going to go there. If you're looking for a get-out-of-jail horse on Saturday in the last race, Best Adventure in the 5:15. I'm hoping he will go well for the Andrew Balding team. Won over this course and distance last time out. Good time performance. Takes on a lot of exposed horses in there, and he just looks like a horse on the up. So he will do for me. Joe Fanning gets the ride, I think, because Oisin Murphy can't do the weight. So go on, Joe, bring her home. Next best, you know what? I'm actually going to go for Saucy. Ombudsman is absolutely the best horse in the race on what we know, but I'm just worried about him backing up. He's taken on a fresher, progressive horse, and I'm just hoping he'll love the British style of racing, that stiff climb at Sandown. And then the long shot's going to be Ariseg and the Coral Challenge. Like I said on the show, the front 3 in the market maybe could be better horses off a strong gallop. Not sure they're going to get it. She should be fine with it, and Callum Shepherd gets on well with her. So she will do for me for the Inform Johnston team.
There you go. Nicely done as well. Speedily went through those. So impressive.
Well, I know someone's got to get away, so, you know, I'm trying.
Trying desperately, I know, but I've only got myself to blame anyway. That was a whole other thing that was happening before the show. We won't go into it now.
You don't want to know, lads. Oh, it's been
we won't go into it now, but Kate's got to get to Silverstone, basically, is how we're wrapping
Hard
this
life,
up.
Rixie, isn't it?
I know, exactly. Someone's got to do it. You're not, though.
No,
Who's your best bets?
I'm off to Oasis this weekend. So
okay, fair enough then.
Yeah, so
are you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Bit of.
You're feeling left out now of everything.
Yeah, sorry, Rixie.
Actually, really, I've got to work this weekend.
Looking forward to the website content. There you go.
Get the violin out. Right, we're going to head up north to kick off with my nap, because my old friend Candleford, who I was more pleased than the results suggested in his Ascot run, because he ended up last. But he ran really, really well for a period of that race. This is a completely different kettle of fish. You know, small field up at Beverley, listed race, looks a really good opportunity to get the horse back in front, be around even money 4 to 5, which is probably a little bit on the short side, as this man over here is about to give you some stick for. Yeah, very good, Rixie. But I just think it was a bit of a penalty kick. I wanted a horse this weekend that was definitely going to win, and couldn't nap a Strange at 1 to 4 or whatever she's going to be up at.
Well, you tried, but we...
Oh, well, there we go.
Say no.
There we go. We'll move on to the next best now. I'm going to go for Greek Order and butt heads yet again with him, because I just really like Michael Bell's horse in the Coral Challenge. I just really fancy to step forward from that Ascot run. The £2 isn't going to make a difference here, and I just thought that fourth was a brilliant return to action in the UK, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes. And like I say, Ryan Moore, right man on board. And my long shot, I'm going to butt heads again with Rixie because I'm going to go for Ruling Court. Double-digit price for me. 2,000 guineas winner. Yes, the Ascot run was a bit disappointing, but it displayed to me a desire that further in trip will be what he needs. And I just think 10 to 1's just the wrong price.
Agree in some parts there with your best bet.
I'll take some parts.
Some parts, yeah. Your next best notably. But Nap, though, and I feel like this is a bit of a cop-out for Ombudsman, but even money I actually think is very fair. If you were to run this race 10 times, he's going to win half of them, I think. Like you say, Rixie, the fact that we do have that doubt about him necessarily turning around here with the speedy enough turnaround from Ascot, but I still would fancy him to go and win this at even money and to prove himself as the best horse in the race as well. With still more to offer, because of course he was unraced as a 2-year-old. So who's to say that he's reached any sort of ceiling just yet? And he might still have more to come. Greek Order, then, this is where the agreement comes in. 7 to 2. Really like him in the Coral Challenge because of the Royal Hunt Cup run on his most recent start, and that being the trend I really wanted to focus in on, with 4 of the 5 past winners of this race running in the Royal Hunt Cup and finishing mid-division or better. And of course, he ran a solid race, finishing 4th, beaten a length and a half. And for those exact reasons, I'm also going high royal at 28 to 1 in the Coral Challenge as well, because of that Royal Hunt Cup form. Now, of course, he didn't finish anywhere near as well as Greek Order. He actually finished back in 19th, but apart from that, he actually ticks more boxes than Greek Order on the overall trends front. But the fact he finished further down the field in the Royal Hunt Cup, and that being the main focus trend, is the reason why he's now dropped down to be the long shot and the second selection then at 28 to 1. So hopefully the 28 to 1 just forgives my Ombudsman even money at Nap, therefore. But really looking forward to this weekend's racing from Sandown. That's everything from us, lads. So I will wish you both a very lovely weekend. Enjoy Oasis, enjoy working.
Hope you have a good weekend. Definitely, maybe.
Oh, there you go.
Only one I can think of.
Didn't even mean to tee it up for a pun, but he never misses an opportunity. But thank you to the lads for all of their hard work. Thank you so much for watching. Best of luck with your bets this weekend. And we'll be back at the same time next Friday to preview Super Saturday.